Hey, what's going on, y'all? So it's time for another R. Kelly video. I just kind of took a break for a very long time, and I've been, as usual, just been really busy with real life stuff. But I think for the next couple of weeks or so, I'm dedicated to pushing out some content for this channel, and I decided to start off with R. Kelly. I think maybe a week ago I was on someone's channel and they were actually talking about Sharon Winbush and R. Kelly, and they were actually doing a live stream at the time. And I was like, let me hop on this because I want to, there's a lot of stuff that I want to say. And most of the stuff that I said was kind of like a regurgitation of stuff that I've been saying on my channel for a long time. But there was some new material, so to speak, where they were talking about whether or not Tasha K was going to be convicted or could be convicted, or not even a conviction, just something happening to Tasha K for the wrong that she's done towards R. Kelly, right? So, I got a chance to, hop on the channel and actually talk about all that stuff. And I was actually hoping to maybe get a copy or a copy, a snippet of that content and put it on my channel. I did get permission, but they never really posted the video. So I'm not sure what happened with that. If I am able to find it, I'll post that for you. But I wanted to really step back and do a video about R. Kelly and to figure out where we are right now. Now, there was one article that I found, and that article talked about Jennifer Bonjean and how she was not going to appeal R. Kelly's conviction. But now I can't find the article anymore. So, and not only can I not find it, but I'm finding, I guess, conflicting information from the actual court documents, which we're actually going to get into it. But essentially, the article said that Jennifer Bonjean wasn't going to appeal R. Kelly's 20-year sentence that was basically delivered in Illinois. Now, everybody knows that he already has a sentence or he already has a conviction in New York, and he was given time for that. And he's also had the trial in Chicago, and he was given time for that as well. Now, my whole thing is I'm trying to figure out whether or not this is over for R. Kelly, whether or not it's all over for R. Kelly, because from my understanding from the article that I had originally read, and I can't find it, it said that Jennifer Bonjean wasn't going to appeal the verdict. So I started sifting through the court documents because this means that if she actually said that and 30 days have passed and no notice of appeal has been filed, then it would really be over for R. Kelly. I mean, it's basically over. Like, it doesn't even matter what happened in New York, but if he's convicted in Chicago or Illinois and that verdict isn't appealed, then it's over. I mean, if you've been in the court system, you know that you pretty much have 30 days to appeal any court judgment. If you don't do that, then it's basically going to be final. It's going to be over. So, that got me thinking after, doing the video with, the blogger that I did the video with. And I was like, wait a minute, did he actually appeal this verdict? What's going on here? So I started looking into um, the actual court documents, and basically this is what I found. So, the first thing that I found was the actual judgment for or against R. Kelly in his criminal case. And basically, it just says that he was found not guilty on counts 1, 3, 9, 10, and 12 of the superseding indictment after the plea of not guilty. I'm sorry. He was found guilty. I'm sorry. I read that totally wrong. My bad, y'all. He was found guilty on counts 1, 3, 9, 10, and 12 of the superseding indictment, right? And basically, it tells you what those are, right? You can see here One is related to underage material, right? I'm avoiding keywords because I don't want to get caught up in the YouTube algorithm. And he was also found guilty on two other counts for young people or whatever, which I'm just going to totally avoid for the YouTube algorithm. So he was found guilty on these counts, right? And basically, the first one was 1 and 3, and then the second one was 9 and 12, and then the third one was 10, I guess, right? So, and it basically goes on to say the defendant is sentenced as provided in page 2 through 8 of this judgment. The sentence imposed pursuant to the Sentencing Reform Act of 1994. The defendant has been found not guilty on counts 4, 8, 11, and 13 of the superseding indictment. The forfeiture allegation, uh, the forfeiture allegation is dismissed on the motion of the United States, right? So basically, it goes on to say, it's ordered the defendant must notify the United States attorney for this district within 30 days of any change of name, residence, so on and so forth, right? I doubt he's going to be able to change his place of residency or anything like that because, he's going to jail, right? And then it goes on, imprisonment. The defendant is hereby committed to custody of the Federal Bureau of Prisons to be in prison for a total term of 228 months on counts 1 and 3, concurrent to all other counts of the docket number. Concurrent meaning that everyone knows he has that verdict in New York, and this sentence is basically going to run at the same time his New York sentence is running, so he doesn't have to serve two separate sentences, right? So, and it goes on months on 1-3 to run concurrent on to all other counts, but consecutive to docket number, which is here. I'm just not going to read the docket number. Eastern District of New York. Then it goes on 180 months on 9 and 12 to run concurrent to all other counts in the Eastern District of New York, and 120 months on 10 to run concurrent to all other counts on the Eastern District of New York number, right? And then it goes on, the defendant is remanded to custody of the United States Marshals, right? So, that's pretty much it for the actual document, right? And basically, oh, hold on a second. So the court determined the defendant does not have the ability to pay interest, and it is ordered that the interest requirement is waived for restitution, right? So there was some restitution ordered, right? Let's have a quick look at that. The defendant must pay the total criminal monetary penalties under the scheduled payments on sheet 6. And basically, I guess it's 42,000 in restitution. I'm actually shocked because I thought that it was actually going to be more money owed for restitution, but 42,000 is all that was actually paid out. And it basically says if the defendant makes a pretrial payment, each payee shall receive an approximate proportion payment unless specified otherwise in the priority ordered or percentage payment column below, right? And basically, he has to pay $42,000 in this case for restitution, right? So, payment to begin immediately, maybe combined with, basically, they're just saying that he has to pay this money right away. Um, so, here's the thing. This is the reason I'm doing this video. Um, because for the most part, and I said this before and I've said it, lots of times. I have a few videos where I talk about this. I think R. Kelly's trial, I think the indictment, the charges, and the trial was basically all bullshit, right? And I say that for lots of different reasons, but I'm just going to focus on two. The first reason is that when you look at the charges in New York, those charges are based on a Rico indictment. And everybody knows, and I've made many videos about this, everybody knows that, in order to convict somebody of Rico, typically, historically, you're usually bringing a charge not necessarily against one person, but against several people, right? Because it's a criminal enterprise. And even as his lawyer has argued that this is not a criminal enterprise, it's just one man who's been accused of or who's been alleged to have done some bad acts. Well, he's convicted, right? So this is just one man who, according to the conviction, has just done, some bad acts, many, many, many years ago, right? A lot of these charges are too old to bring forth because of the statute of limitations. But you bring the RICO in, and now you're able to basically bring up these old charges. But when you look at the RICO case itself, it doesn't really hold any substance. I mean, there's really nothing to that RICO case because you're just charging one person and you're not providing any evidence of a criminal enterprise. I didn't really see any evidence. Well, I wasn't at the trial, but when I looked through the court documents and when I looked through the indictment, I didn't see any real evidence. I didn't see any real um, ties to a criminal enterprise. It was just basically one man who had a company, and basically his business was singing and entertaining. And of course, he has a company of people to basically help him do that. But it's not a criminal enterprise. To me, a criminal enterprise is when someone is out there, selling drugs, and they're out there robbing and killing people, so on and so forth. And none of those elements were actually there. And when you look at the allegations towards the alleged victims, it's really about R. Kelly and the women that he was sleeping with. That's it. There was no situations where R. Kelly is actually selling, women. There's no situation where R. Kelly is, promoting the selling of women or anything like that. So it's really about R. Kelly and the relationships that he's had with these women. So it's a no-brainer. That whole trial was bullshit, 100% bullshit, because you're bringing up these old charges through the RICO, right? The RICO statute. If you take away RICO, everything falls apart. Then when you look at the Chicago trial, the whole basis for the Chicago trial was that he cheated in the 2008 trial, right? And I actually found an article, but I can't, I'm just going to cut through the chase. But basically, the article, I think it was a New York Times article, and it points out that in 2008, he was alleged of basically paying off the alleged victim and her family, and then sent them off on a vacation so that they couldn't testify before a grand jury. Well, here's the thing. And there's several statutes, there's several laws in Illinois that will basically allow the state's attorney to put out a warrant for the alleged victims to basically get them in the court and to testify. So you're bringing up this new case in the federal court, and basically in that case you're alleging that he cheated in the 2008 trial, and basically that charge is obstruction of justice, right? So it's similar to the RICO, right? It's similar to the RICO, but you're using a slightly different mechanism to bring up an old case, right? So everyone knows that there's this concept in American law that basically says that you can't charge a person for the same crime, and that's basically called double jeopardy, right? But there's a twist. When it comes down to charging a person in a state court, in a federal court, you can do it. Even though you can do it, but it's not considered double jeopardy, but it's considered something called successive prosecution. And there's several federal statutes and federal laws that basically discourages this type of thing. And here they are, they're going to break these federal laws, these federal rules that says, hey, you shouldn't be charging a person for the same crime that he was charged in state court. No, it's not double jeopardy, right? Because each the state and the feds are considered different sovereigns, so you can actually bring those charges up if you really wanted to. But there are federal rules and there are federal laws that prohibit successive prosecution. So what do? They do something slick. They do a thing where they're going to say, well, hey, he basically conspired to basically cheat the United States. He conspired. I forget what the actual charge the actual charge was called, but I think it was a conspiracy charge or something, like conspiracy to defraud the United States. That's what it was. So you're basically saying, okay, he conspired to defraud the United States in the 2008 trial. So we're going to bring up this new charge, conspiracy to defraud the United States, and we're going to retry him on everything. Well, to me, that's 100% bullshit. And you know that is bullshit because you didn't win on the conspiracy to defraud the United States. That trial, that charge itself, you lost. So, in essence, the only thing you've done was basically successive. What I'm just going to call it double jeopardy, even though it's not really double jeopardy. The correct name for it is successive prosecution. I'm still going to call it double jeopardy because that's what it is. You're bringing a man up for the same freaking charges that you basically uh, hit him with in 2008. So now you bring him back to court so you can charge him again. You didn't win on the conspiracy to defraud the United States. That charge was dropped, right? It wasn't dropped. You lost on that charge. So you know that is bullshit because the reason and the logic that you used to bring the man into federal court and retry him on a 2008 charge, that reasoning, you lost that charge. So to me, it's just all bullshit. So the interesting thing is that I'm trying to figure out I'm trying to figure out whether or not R. Kelly is whether or not it's basically over for R. Kelly. That's what I'm trying to figure out now. Because from my understanding and from what I read, Jennifer Bonjean was not going to appeal the Chicago charge. I mean, the Chicago verdict, right? The Chicago jury verdict, which basically found him guilty, right? So my thinking was that if she was not going to appeal it, then that basically means that it's basically over for R. Kelly. Because if she's not going to appeal it, then who would appeal it, right? And if no one appeals it, then after 30 days, that judgment is final and there's nothing you can do about it. Right. So I went digging, I went looking into the case, and what I found was the notice of appeal. Right. So basically, he is appealing the actual case, which was filed in March 9th, 2023. And it's basically filed by Jennifer Bonjean. So, here's a tricky part here. Um, Basically, once you file the notice of appeal, from my understanding, there's going to be deadlines put in place because you have to do certain things by certain dates or you lose the appeal automatically, right? And Jennifer Bonjean is already appealing his New York case. And now she's going to appeal this case. So, the question is, did Jennifer Bonjean, I'm sorry, file this notice of appeal simply to save R. Kelly's opportunity to appeal in hopes that he'll get another lawyer or he'll get someone to appeal this case, right? You guys let me know. Or does she actually intend to appeal this case? You guys let me know. And I guess, all will be told in the near future because, like I said, there's going to be deadlines where you have to submit certain documents in order to, keep the appeal moving forward. If you don't do that, then you're going to automatically lose the appeal, right? So that's pretty much it for this video. I just kind of wanted to just kind of do a recap or a summary in terms of, what's going on with R. Kelly. And, I'm still trying to figure out if it's actually over for R. Kelly. What do you guys think? Do you think R. Kelly's case is over? In my personal opinion, it's never over so long as you have an appeal going. You can always, appeal up the tree and eventually found justice. I mean, case in point, look at Bill Cosby. He was already convicted. It was, and a lot of people thought it was over, but Jennifer Bonjean was actually able to, appeal the case and get Bill Cosby free, right? So what do you guys think? Do you think it's over for R. Kelly? Let me know. Questions and comments below.